touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Rammer, jammer, yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
Welcome into The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I am your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. You guys are going to be able to find me here every Tuesday and Thursday evening to break down the latest in Crimson Tide football recruiting news. If you're not subscribed to Touchdown Alabama on YouTube, do that for me really quickly. Be sure hit that subscribe button below. Also be sure to leave a like whether you are subscribed or not. We're going to get things rolling today as Alabama picked up a verbal commitment from 2022 four-star running back Le'Veon Moss over the weekend. It was a pretty successful weekend altogether as Alabama was able to get multiple five-star recruits on campus, and I'm going to give you guys a couple of updates from a couple of guys who visited Alabama over the weekend, starting with the Crimson Tide recently offering a 2023 tight end out of Sweden in Theodore Oshram. Alabama tapping into international waters to offer the rising 2023 prospect. He actually took in the University of Alabama with an organization called PPI, which basically takes a lot of international football prospects, bring them to the United States, give them opportunity to camp and visit a lot of college campuses during the summer. And a lot of these guys have been racking in offers from multiple programs. Theodore Oshram pulled in an offer from Alabama. His offer list is expected to get much longer. I think he has the potential at 6'6", and with that athleticism that he brings to the game, he has the potential to be one of the top tight ends in the 2023 recruiting class. It's definitely a prospect to know moving forward here as Alabama continues to try to recruit those athletic tight ends. Alabama also offered a 2022 four-star defensive back out of University Lab School in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in Austin Ausbury. Of course, Alabama has a long list of the 2022 defensive backs who they are currently targeting, but they are not totally shutting down guys who may get into the fold later in this recruiting cycle. And Austin Ausbury could be one of those guys, a versatile defensive back, a very physical defensive back who plays a lot of offense and defense for University Lab School in Louisiana. He told me that it was a blessing for him to get an offer from Alabama after the Tide defensive coordinator Pete Golding offered him. He is in the process of setting up a couple of visits to Tuscaloosa in the future, so he is a name we could see and hear a lot more about as this recruiting cycle, the 2022 recruiting cycle, continues to move forward. Alabama was able to host a lot of their 2022 top targets over the weekend, along with a couple of 2023 guys, as well as five-star running back Ruben, Owens, who is a Texas commit, was on the campus of the University of Alabama, and he was very impressed. He told me after that visit that he could tell that the culture at Alabama was different. The atmosphere was very active. You guys can check out my full interview with the five-star running back over at touchdownalabama.com, as Owens says he definitely wants to get back to Tuscaloosa in the future and continue to develop his relationship with the Crimson Tide's coaching staff. Alabama also hosted another in-state recruit and five-star defensive end Peter Woods out of Thompson High School in Alabaster, Alabama. Something that was very interesting about his visit was after it, he told me that Alabama felt like family. He said that their coaching staff has been instrumental in its recruiting process up until this point, not just by selling them on their program, but by telling him about the leverage that he possesses as a five-star recruit, as one of the top defensive ends in the 2023 recruiting class. So he said it feels like family for him in Tuscaloosa. So Alabama looks to be in a great position with one of the top overall prospects in the 2023 recruiting class. But now we are going to switch gears here and talk about a couple of guys in the 2022 recruiting class who's on the campus of the University of Alabama over the weekend. Guys who I feel Alabama might have made a move with here. And we are going to start this discussion by talking about five-star defensive end Mikhail out of Georgia. He was on the campus of the University of Alabama over the weekend, got an opportunity to speak with Nick Saban, and he said he was really impressed with Alabama's player development. He said he was blown away by the amount of rings when you walk into Nick Saban's office, just about blown away with the Crimson Tide's weight room development with their new strength and conditioning staff. Talked a lot about how Alabama was able to put a lot of guys in the first round in 2021 NFL draft. So there's a lot to like about Mikhail Williams and Alabama's chances with them. At the moment, he said he still feels that Alabama and everybody else listed in his top 10. When you look at the top 10, you have schools like Clemson and Georgia involved in his recruitment at the moment. He said he feels that everybody is on an even playing field at the moment, but he was impressed with Alabama's coaching staff, impressed with Alabama's facilities. As I said earlier, impressed with their player development during this particular visit. He said he definitely is going to come to Tuscaloosa again before he makes an official decision. So Mikhail Williams, the 5-star defensive end, looks to really like Alabama at this point in this recruitment, along with some of those other programs like Clemson and Georgia that are also continuing to recruit him. The Tide safeties coach Charles Kelly has been a huge part in Alabama's push for the 5-star defensive end out of Georgia up until this point in this recruitment. Alabama also offered a guy we talked about a couple of times on this show, who is one of the more underrated recruits in the 2022 recruiting class, and that is 3-star defensive back Devin Moore. He had several conversations with Nick Saban before he actually took his visit over the weekend, spent a couple of days in Tuscaloosa. I remember he told me that he got an opportunity to pick Nick Saban's brain recently and just talked about how their relationship has continued to develop, but he finally got an opportunity to talk and meet Saban in person, and he said it was a dream come true. He said he had a great time in Tuscaloosa. He loved everything about it. His exact words were, "I love that place." So Alabama looks to be in a strong position, a very strong position, with the 3-star defensive back out of Naples, Florida. Alabama's coaching staff really seems to like him. Nick Saban likes him as well. So Devin Moore and Alabama continue to develop their relationship. Alabama looks to be in a good spot with him. He told me that they were one of the top schools in his recruitment, definitely in a top spot for his commitment at the moment. So Devin Moore is a guy I will pay attention to moving forward in the 2022 recruiting cycle. Another guy who was on the campus of the University of Alabama over the weekend was Jacob Sexton. He actually took his first official visit to the University of Alabama over the weekend. He said he had a great time meeting the Crimson Tide's coaching staff. He said he felt that they were very knowledgeable. He had a great conversation with Nick Saban. He said he does not know where they stand in his recruitment at the moment because he wants to get an opportunity to visit all of the schools listed in his top 5. He has that top 5 at the moment. He wants to take a couple of more official visits before he can really see where Alabama stands at the moment, and that is understandable when you consider the fact that most of these guys, especially these 2022 recruits, have not gotten an opportunity to visit as many college campuses as they would have if the global pandemic, the COVID-19 situation, did not impact their recruitment. So Jacob Sexton is a guy who wants to take a couple or more visits, but Alabama's 2022 recruiting class looks to be in a solid position at the moment. I think that they could be in line to possibly add another commitment soon. So Alabama fans definitely need to keep their eyes open on that situation. I do feel that Alabama is in a good position to land a commitment pretty soon. Just wanted to drop that little bit of information in this episode of The Process. But as always, thank you guys so much for joining me on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. If you're not subscribed to Touchdown Alabama on YouTube, go ahead, like I always say before you leave, hit that subscribe button. Also be sure to leave a like whether you are subscribed or not. Then head over to touchdownalabama.com, pick up your subscription today. With that subscription, you will be able to read all of our subscriber only articles. You are going to want to pick up that subscription today. There's a ton of recruiting information on touchdownalabama.com right now. Pick up that subscription so you can stay updated on all of Alabama football recruiting news as the recruiting dead period has ended. Guys are continuing to visit the University of Alabama. You are going to want to stay updated, so be sure to pick up that subscription at touchdownalabama.com. Then head to the Google Play Store if you have that Android device, or to the Apple App Store if you have an Apple device, to download the Touchdown Alabama app. With that app, breaking news notifications can be sent to your mobile device. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.
Process.